good. Let's go ahead and let everyone in. We had friends, I want to welcome you. This is what is today? It's Wednesday, so it's day 3 of our Wealth Creator Challenge for May. God has been taking us all sorts of places this week. And so I'm excited. If you're here with us for the first time, you are here for a reason. I believe God puts people in our lives for a very specific purpose. Sometimes you don't know what that purpose is straight away. Sometimes it takes some different turns and twists in life. But everyone that is here today with us present, you are here for a reason. You are God's masterpiece, his custom design. I was just speaking with my new friend Mark, a couple of minutes ago, and we were talking about these curveballs that life throws at us and that come out of nowhere. And we think we're on the right track. And then, holy cow, what just happened? I spoke with one of our sisters in Christ earlier today. She said, Lisa, I've been really doing well with my wealth building. I was in a new job. I was liking what I was doing. I was, paying everything. I was paying myself. And now I find myself right back in that paycheck to paycheck cycle. What is going on? And my response to her was, I'm excited for you because I know that is where God meets us the most, is when we're struggling, right? When we're really having those hard times, we turn to him more. And so therefore he gets to refine us more. I want to start today by sharing one of my favorite songs. And I want you to just sit with this. And I want you to maybe close your eyes, maybe look at the words and really, maybe you've heard this song before, but I want you to think about it from the perspective of, who does God say I am? Okay. So watch and listen for a minute. Hopefully my tech, I always struggle with this part a little bit of technology and sharing, but tell me, June, if you see, can you hear me? Can you see the screen?
Yes, it looks good. It looks good.
Okay.
Who am I that the highest king would welcome me? I was lost, but he brought me in. Oh, his love for me. Oh, his love for me. Who the sun sets free, oh, is free indeed. I'm a child of God, yes I am. Free at last, he has ransomed me, his grace runs deep. While I was a slave to sin, Jesus died for me. Yes, he died for me. Who the Son sets free, oh, is free indeed. I'm a child of God, yes I am. In my Father's house, there's a place for me. I'm a child of God, yes I am. I am chosen, not forsaken. I am who you say I am. You are for me, not against me. I am who you say I am. I am chosen, not forsaken. I am who you say I am. You are for me, not against me. I am who you say I am. I am who you say I am. Who the Son sets free, oh, is free indeed. I'm a child of God, yes I am. In my Father's house, there's a place for me.
that song. It gets me every time. I hope you know that you're a child of God. Sorry. I don't know why I'm crying. Isn't it funny? I think I'm crying because so many people are hurting right now and don't know. Don't know. So you are a child of God, my friends, and everything is happening for you. I had this conversation with my daughter earlier this week. She's going for her first job interview. Anyone remember that time when you're looking for your first job? Okay. How much, first of all, you don't know what the heck you're doing when you're looking for a job, when you're a teenager, right? Now she has the benefit of having a mother and father that have literally been headhunters for 20 and 25 years. Do you think she takes our advice? It comes very difficult, right? No matter how much we want to help her, we give her advice, we share tips and tricks. It's up to her, obviously, what she implements. And, this workshop is the same. There were 70 people that signed up for the workshop this week. Alice and I were talking about this a couple months ago, right? We have what's going on with like the sign up and then the show up. What's happening in between there, right? And so I want you to think about for yourself what's happening right now in your own life. We talked earlier in the week. We've really been talking about this concept of partnering with God in our business, that He wants to be in partnership with us. Earlier today, our mentor Pedro, was anyone on Kingdom Seekers this morning by chance? So Mary Alice, did you hear? This was the first thought that I've had around this before, that when he was talking about tithing and how the tithing is a concept that was actually really old covenant teaching. And yet the preachers of today, right, the people that are in ministry, does anyone always have that one sermon a year that their pastor gives on tithing? It seems like every church does it a little different. My pastor, it's once a year. And yet there's this entire other concept that the new covenant gives us, which is about generosity and philanthropy, being more generous, right? And that just blew my mind. First of all, I'd never heard that before. So I feel like I need to go have another meeting with Pastor Seth over at Red Hill Lutheran to fill him in on the new covenant. Did you not get this memo, Pastor Seth? Right? Sorry, I'm not being very respectful right now, but this was just blew me away. Okay. So, and it really goes to our mission to empower, equip, and inspire 1 million women to hire themselves, with our greater mission to create a tribe of 7-figure givers. Imagine being able to give that generously, right? Imagine what we can do with these two hands by generating more in our own lives so that we can be generous. But guess what? It starts with where we are right now, where we are today. I was talking with Mark earlier about how you get to be the very, very best that you are right where you're at today before you can move on to greater things, right? So when you're searching for a job, I'm telling Sierra, she gets to be the queen of follow-up. She gets to write in-person, handwritten thank you notes. Do you think any other 16-year-old girl is doing this? Probably not many, right? And I said, guess what, sweetheart? You get to not only write one, you get to write two after the second interview, and you get to send a follow-up email. And you know what? Whatever the answer is, guess what? You showed up in the very, very best way that you could, because you are doing the very best you can with what's been given to you. And I love the idea that we've been talking about this week around when we get really intentional and intimate with our finances, we are being trusted with something, with kind of the measlies, as Kathy would say, Donis, right? Donis has a client. She talks about her money like her measlies, and Donis is always like, "Why are you talking about your money like that? It's going to stay measly if you keep talking about it that way, right?" But really, when you think about it, money is just an instrument. It's a tool. Money is everywhere, by the way. It flows easily to me and through me. I believe that. And guess what? Once we are really doing well with what's been given to us, we are going to be trusted more with his most precious thing, which is his people. Right? More people are going to come to us. If you're a coach, you're going to be blessed with more clients. If you're an IT consultant like Mark, you're going to be blessed with more job opportunities. If you're a retiree like Nancy, you are going to be blessed with more generosity to your family, right? To the church you serve, all of the things, when we're entrusted and we do well with what's been given to us, then we are so much more likely to be trusted with the most precious asset, which is his people. So let's take a little refresh for a minute about what we've learned so far this week, because there's been a lot, and I kind of messed up and accidentally went on some squirrel paths, so we kind of missed a couple of things that we normally cover. So I'm going to get back to my slides. This has been kind of a week where I haven't had the use of slides as much. We've been going a little more storytelling and things like that. But I do want to remind you of the goal of our workshop is to help, first of all, help you implement your own kingdom wealth formula. This is a beautiful concept that Pedro, our mentor, was downloaded directly, truly from our Heavenly Father about how to protect first in the kingdom, which will allow you to earn, which will allow you to multiply more. There's a lot of things that goes into protection. We talked about life insurance, for example, yesterday, about the value of protecting these two precious hands that we possess, that we are able to create wealth with. We talked a little bit about just the fact that no family should have a GoFundMe ever. It's not necessary. That is an enemy of the devil, by the way, these GoFundMe accounts, when we know very well that life insurance is so affordable for most people, especially if they do it while they're young and they're healthy, right? Like me, I'm not so young, but I'm pretty healthy, and youth is a state of mind, right? We also talked about protecting the wealth that we have. We believe that something is coming in the economy of the stock market. We are all educators. We are financially licensed professionals. The community that we are part of, many of you are considering doing that yourself. And I want to tell you, every expert that we are hearing from is saying, take care of what you have. Be careful of where you're invested right now. Most of the largest wealth advisors, the people that are, the owners of Facebook, the owners of Amazon, they are divesting. They are getting in a cash position, right? So whatever strategy you have in your investments right now, take heed, be watchful. You can only go up for so long. Something is coming, and we know that there are ways that we can protect what we have. We talked about some of those things yesterday with annuities, with life insurance plans that you can accumulate cash, right? If you haven't yet spoken with one of our Kingdom Wealth Success coaches, be watching for that call. They're reaching out to you individually to help you implement your own Kingdom Wealth plan. And it's complimentary. It comes with the workshop. So make sure you take advantage of that. These are wise people that are really wanting to give you the best advice that we have. You can protect. Sometimes in wealth building, you can help someone more by making sure they don't lose, right? Imagine how much more wealth I personally would have if I didn't lose that 300,000 in 2008 in my portfolio, right? I went down 38%, just like everybody, right? It took me many years to build that up. Imagine your own wealth story. If you hadn't lost in 2008, if you didn't lose in 2022, because guess what? The worldly way says, talk to this advisor, don't worry, take the ups and downs, you're buying low, right? When the market goes down. Baloney. You do not have to lose. There are ways that you can do that. So get out of the worldly thinking, get into the kingdom thinking when it comes to wealth building. Okay. So make sure and take advantage of that, my friends. So we talked about protecting our life, protecting our money. Let's talk about protecting ourselves, our own economy. There's three types of people in this world, my friends. There's people that work for someone else, they work for themselves, or they put others to work. And that's what I love so much about our Better Life platform, that we have. We can help someone by getting out of debt. Certainly, absolutely. We can help them protect their money, but quite frankly, I don't think there's anything more exciting than helping someone help themselves, create their own economy. Imagine if everyone had a backup income when COVID hit, it's interesting. My husband and I, we have recruited in the highest paid industry in the world for decades. I've worked in financial services and I've worked in technology. And, my husband was doing a lot and is and still is in our recruiting firm, works with technology professionals every day. And we work with very well-paid consultants. These people are making usually on average, maybe 75, $150 an hour. You would think that things were doing well for them financially. And some of them are, but I will tell you, it doesn't matter how much money you make. If you don't really know how money works and you're just taking the same advice that everyone else is doing, you're not necessarily as well off as you think you might be, right? So I want to just encourage you, if this idea of becoming a wealth creator in your own life or helping others do that is new to you, people are waiting for you to learn this. People are waiting for you to reach out to them. People are waiting for you to make them aware of what's possible. In Pedro's community, this workshop we did last week, there were 5,000 people that paid to attend this challenge. They paid $8.18 to attend. Some of them upgraded and got the workbook for $27. And guess what? Every penny of that was given away to charity, which I just love this idea of generosity, right? It's why I follow what Pedro is teaching. But guess what's happening now? All of those people that attended to the workshop are also wanting to meet with a success coach. So that's what our community is. We are the delivery team on that success channel. So you are in the right place, my friends. You're getting teaching from the right people, which quite frankly, we are being guided by our Heavenly Father, period, the end. And there's no better teacher than that. So I just want to encourage you, you're in the right place. Now, I missed yesterday. I wanted to give you, we always like to give cash flow tips. My very first tip that I forgot to do on Monday is share the good news of this workshop series, because just by simply bringing a buddy, you can help them create their own economy. It's a ripple effect. It's amazing what one person can do by sharing the good news. You immediately go from the people your market, your warm market that it's limited, to your unknown market, which is what? Honest, what's unlimited, right? We know that. There's no limit to the people we don't know. Well, except for how many people are on the planet, right? what is it, 7 billion something right now and counting. So make sure if you haven't yet, create your own affiliate link for the workshop. There's instructions how to do that. Our guest today, my friend Allyson, is a perfect example of how affiliate marketing works. We've invited her here to share her genius with us. She's invited her community, and what's happening is kingdom collaboration as a result of it. More hands locked together in community can accomplish so much. And it's crazy how, just these little tips, I talked about the first day, how we can sign up for these. The next step is show up, right, Allyson? Then the next step is don't be a professional meeting attender, but take action on what we're sharing, right? So if you haven't invited a buddy, there's still day 3 and 4. Or 4 and 5, and they can also watch the replays, which are available for people. I wanted to also tell you about a great raise that you can give yourself today if you do it, and that is what's happening in the high yield savings account space. Anyone have a high yield savings account already, by the way? I know Jen does. I know a lot of our coaches better. You better have one by now. But for those of you that don't know about this, you think about, ask yourself, when is the last time I actually went to the bank and had a transaction with a human? I do that in my business banking on occasion, but it's very rare that my day-to-day banking is in person. And what's happened, partly due to technology, partly due to, quite frankly, artificial intelligence, is there's these online banks that have come about that are providing so much value. In fact, the bricks and mortar banks are kind of getting jealous. Some of their business is being taken away. And even that, they are starting to implement this. But for the most part, it's primarily online bank systems right now. I want to give you a tip. Take a screenshot of this. This is the bank that I use, for example. It's called SoFi, and you can get 4.6% on your money for your emergency fund, your rainy day fund. Open a high yield savings account today. That's cash flow tip number 2. Share with others. Why would you want to share with others? Well, guess what? By you using my code, you can get up to $275 and pay no account fees. But guess what? I get a little bit too. I think it's like $10 or something. This is a great example of affiliate marketing. The banks are doing it well. Why the heck can't we do it well? Right? So take advantage of it. Open your own, create your own affiliate link and share the good news with other people. The banks, we know, we've learned about the rule of 72 earlier this week. The banks are giving us 0.01%. Using the rule of 72, it's going to take us 7,200 years to double our money, right? That is not okay. That is definitely not kingdom, right? We get to work in our kingdom economy, right? So take advantage of that.
Hey, Lisa, your
yeah.
Zoom bar was in front of the QR code, so the QR code didn't work.
Let me go back. Let me go back. Yes, ma'am. Let me go back. How's that?
Thank you.
Got it? Anybody else?
It's
Take
still
a screenshot.
up there.
Did it come up? Okay.
It's perfect. Thank you.
Okay, no worries. So friends, I want to share with you a little video. Today, we're going to talk actually about, better, the Better platform is solving some of the biggest crises in our country. We're solving the debt crisis. We talked briefly yesterday about student loan debt, for example, with Prosperity Financial. This is a crisis that is just so alarming. I personally shared my story of being 70,000 in credit card debt, not knowing how I was going to make this up, doing my best. At one point, I was making $2,000 a month in payments to my credit card companies, and it just seemed like the balance was doing nothing. I then lost my largest client. So my income got cut in half. So now I went from barely making these payments, seeing the interest continuing to rise, to now not even being able to make these payments. And I will say it took a little bit of humbleness on my part to take advantage of this system. One of the consultants that when I finally did have this consult, I told them I feel guilty. I took this debt on, why should I not be responsible for paying it? And he actually showed me a calculation of how I actually had already paid the debt off. I just because I was paying so much in interest, and things like that. And I thought, you know what? He's right. What am I doing? Like hanging on to my pride? Why am I going to keep paying this company hundreds and hundreds and thousands of more dollars when I could put that money to better use? Right. So I did that. And I tell you, it was hard. It was difficult. I was getting calls from creditors. I was very anxious, but I tell you what, within 2 years, I had paid that debt off because other things had come into my world. I feel like in some ways, when I swallowed my pride and I left that debt behind and I agreed that there was a solution I could take advantage of, it was almost like God was like, yes, my daughter, yes, you're right. It was here for you. I was just waiting for you to do it. And then guess what? Other things came. And I love how God works. Sometimes we know that we have an option to do something, and yet something's holding us back. And yet when we do it, and we really do it from a perspective of not just leaping and jumping, but doing it from a place where you do your due diligence, maybe you shop around, right? You consult with people that you trust. Any major financial decision that I make, I consult my husband and I consult my father, right? And are those people in your life that you can consult with? Because those wise decisions will lead to fruit. I promise you, they will lead to more fruit when you sometimes swallow your pride and do those things. So, take advantage if you personally have debt. You can use your referral code and you can get paid for your own debt. I just had a client, she was in the hospital. She's like, Lisa, I just got $850. I don't know where this came from. And we started going through the clients that she had referred. And it was her ex-husband. She had told about this debt program. And she was paid a referral fee for that. And I thought, see, isn't it just great? Even an ex-husband can bring some greatness. And I do have a really awesome ex-husband. I'm going to tell you about his story tomorrow when we talk about the self-employment tax credit. But anyway, we digress. I am actually, it's 12:30. I'm going to let's bring Allyson to the stage, my friend. Allyson, I am just so happy that you're here with us. I'm so happy that we met. It's interesting because Allyson and I don't know each other very well, actually. We only met, was it January that we met?
Yeah.
Was it Prosperity Camp?
Mhm.
We
Yeah,
only
it's
met,
January.
a couple of months ago, but it's interesting. The more that I have been seeking God's wisdom in my life and my business, I'm very intentional when I go into a room these days. I didn't used to be. I used to go to these networking events and I would be like gathering as many cards as I could and, here, scan my QR code, let's connect. And I quite frankly, I would walk away completely overwhelmed, ending up really not doing often a lot with any of the things that I gathered. And it's really just been like in the last year where I really consult with God before I enter any room and ask him, who do you want me to connect with today? And Allyson and that she was one of those girls for me. There were actually three that 3 days, and you were one of those. So I'm just so happy you're here with us. I know you've had a lot going on in your life. We haven't had a chance to catch up much, so I'm just so glad you're here. Allyson, tell us a little bit about maybe your backstory, what brought you to what you do, and then we'll talk more about how you're serving your community and what we can learn from you.
Beautiful. Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me here, Lisa. You are one of those, one of God's chosen for sure. And it's just an honor and a privilege to be here with you and with your community and all of this wonderful, wonderful truths that you are teaching. And so I just feel privileged to be a part of it. And so for those of you who don't know me, I don't think any of you here know me. I'm Allyson Chavez. And really, I am a feminine energy expert and an alignment coach for high achieving God-centered women. And I really help women get out of the hustle and the grind and the burnout by understanding their divinely appointed gifts as daughters of God and being able to utilize their unique gifts so that they're no longer toiling so much for success, but they're able to get to those next levels of success with ease and grace and flow, the way that we're designed to quantum leap into success in all areas of our lives. And I didn't start out teaching that. I've been in the online space for 12 years. And I built my mentoring company and my coaching company from the ground up with hustle and grind and toil and terror, actually, thinking that I was way, way outside of my comfort zone. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't understand how money worked. Always been a faith-centered, Christ-centered woman, but felt like I was awfully alone in building this business. And I built it to multiple six figures in just about 2 years, and I was miserable in the process. And then, as what tends to happen, my business began to decline. And so I started to hustle more. And the faster I hustled, the faster it fell. And it ended up in this, in the thing that I was actually afraid of more than anything in my whole life, which was a Chapter 13 bankruptcy. And I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid of death. I believe in an afterlife. I believe in heaven. I believe in us, going back to our Heavenly Father. But I was so afraid of debt, and I was so afraid of not being able to pay our bills. And my whole identity was wrapped up in my perfect credit score. And God was like, I think we need to take that away. I think you need to know that you are enough just with me. And not that God was punishing me at all. I didn't understand how money really worked and how the universal laws worked, but it was very interesting because when the dust all settled and I put down the beat up stick of not enoughness, the thought came to me that said, oh, well, I created this and I didn't mean to. I wonder if I can create my way out of it with God's help. And I really think that's when the Lord was like, all right, somebody suit her up, get her out on the field. She is ready to play. She's ready to learn. And he actually taught me 3 really important things. He taught me how to balance my feminine and masculine energy and lead with my feminine energy and trust him more. He taught me how money actually works spiritually and energetically. And he taught me how to change my subconscious beliefs. And I learned all those things within a couple of months of each other and applied them. And 6 months later, we went from a Chapter 13 bankruptcy with $150,000 in debt to $230,000 in our account. I went from 6 clients to 97. I was finally able to be present with my husband and our 4 children. I released 45 pounds without stepping foot in the gym, just by learning how to trust the Lord and trust those nudges and the inspiration and the downloads that he gave me. And it was fun and it was work, but it was almost effortless. There was just so much flow to it. And I realized that I needed to teach this. I needed to teach this to other God-centered women and men, to really help them trust themselves, trust the Lord, trust the process, and to really understand how the behind the scenes things work in order to make your money work for you and for you to bless your own life, but then to bless all of God's children's lives.
I love this so much. I wrote down a couple of things. So repeat those 3 things again for us, would you? And
Yes.
you might not remember them exactly how you word it, but please repeat them. Vicky's saying the same thing. Please
The 3
repeat
things,
them.
the 3 things I learned.
That you learned. Yeah.
I learned how to balance my energy and lead with my feminine. I learned how money actually works on a spiritual and energetic level. And I learned how to change my subconscious beliefs.
Okay, so let's go there. Let's talk about, well, first of all, I love what you said about I'm not defined by my credit score.
Right.
So that to me says a lot, and it's a very common thing that I run across when I'm working with my financial clients. Have you thought about that before that you face that? Have you thought about how society teaches us to be bankable? Teaches us that your worth is in your credit score, not the value you're bringing to your community and the lives of others, right? So that's just one tip there. How did you overcome that for yourself? How did you get over that credit score and the chapter 13? What did you do for yourself?
Do you know, I made a decision. I made a decision that instead of letting it be something that was very shameful and something to be embarrassed about and to hide from, I took all of that power away and just decided that it could be the greatest blessing in my life if that's what I chose for it to mean. And
Mhm.
that's what it became. I learned so many amazing things from that experience that I couldn't have learned any other way. Not that I recommend a bankruptcy as a matter of
Right.
course, but it was so beautiful to me to realize how I really had created it, that it wasn't, and I didn't need to blame myself anymore, and I didn't need to like, this is your fault, it happened. It was just I took responsibility for it without continuing to blame myself because I was trying to do good. It was all in the name of my business and my dream, but I put my trust in the arm of flesh instead of putting my trust in
Mhm.
the arm of God and his power.
Mhm.
And so I trusted that other people would make me enough instead
Mhm.
of God already telling me and trusting that God was like, you already are enough, Allison. Just shine the way you're meant to shine. And so I would hire these people that didn't have integrity, that I didn't know didn't have integrity,
Mhm.
because I was led by fear. I was led by
Mhm.
fear. And as we know, God is not a God of fear, and he's not a God of chaos. And so like I learned so many fantastic things about my own worth and about my power and about boundaries and how important it is to follow our intuition, which is following the Holy Spirit. I because I hadn't done that. And so,
Yeah,
really
yeah,
it was, I mean, really losing a perfect credit score, quite honestly, was a very small price to pay for all
right.
of the goodness that God brought into my life. And I realized that it wasn't actually a financial cliff I went off of. It really was just like when you slip off the curb and there was a
Right,
4-inch
right.
drop, right? Where it jolts you
Yeah.
for a minute, but then you're okay.
Well, and I love what you said about you were an active participant
Mhm.
in the debt, but you also so therefore you are an absolute active creator of the plan to get out of it and
Yes.
to create that abundance in your life. Tell us about how money works on the spiritual and energetic level. Tell us
Oh
more about that.
my goodness. How much time do we have?
I know that we could spend a whole session just on that, right?
Let's start with the spiritual first, because I love this. The whole concept of kingdom wealth is just so beautiful, and it is true. Our spirits resonate with that. God actually wants us to be wealthy. He needs
Mhm.
us to be wealthy because he also knows that everything on this planet can be either a tool or a weapon. And we have
Mhm.
seen money weaponized for centuries. Money has been weaponized and not been used as a tool. But God needs money in the hands of good people because he knows he can trust us with that money to bless others' lives and to do good with that wealth. And did you know that abundance and prosperity are mentioned more than 1,000 times in scripture? More than
I
a
didn't know
thousand
that. I
times.
love that.
Yes. Yes, it's everywhere. In fact, if you read the Old Testament and are looking for that, how did God bless his people when they kept his laws and they kept his commandments? He blessed them with riches. Look at
Mhm.
Abraham. He had flocks, he had herds, he had staff. He called them servants, but he still had to take care of them. They had fine twined linen. They had wonderful food in abundance. They had precious metals and precious jewels. He didn't just bless them with the feel goods to be nice to their neighbors, although that was part of it, but he gave them physical, tangible, material riches to bless other people's lives and to bless his own life as well. The problem happened when people started forgetting who their source was. They started forgetting that the source of their wealth was not their own business acumen or their own cunning or any of that. They let pride get in the way. And they thought it was their own genius. And they started putting themselves above others and thinking that they were more important and worth more and smarter and all of those other things, which are not true. But they forgot that God is their source. They're not their source. The cash, the money, the flocks, they're all of that. And that's where the problems happen, is when we disconnect from our source. And I see that happening today as well, that when we live and die by our bank account, that becomes our source. And money is
Yeah.
really just a channel. God is our source. The Lord is our source. See, if we're connected to God and we're connected to the Lord, they created the entire universe. They are the richest, most abundant, most generous, most loving beings in the universe. And He loves us best of all, doesn't He?
Mhm.
Scriptures
Yeah,
say
he
that
does.
everything that the Father has is for us, but we have to be willing to receive it. Everything just hinges on whether we'll actually accept it and whether we'll receive it and experience all the goodness and all the wealth that God has for us. And so if I'm connected to Him and I'm connected to the Lord, and that is limitless supply, and He gives us examples all over in nature that we live in an abundant planet, in a wealthy planet, that we don't have to struggle and toil. I mean, we don't see any tulips blooming like this. Right? Like there's ease and there's flow and there's seasons. There's seasons to life, there's seasons to growth, there's seasons to our wealth and all of those beautiful things. And when we can take that as evidence that God has a plan in place for us and we can trust that and we can take that to the bank, for lack of a better phrase, then if our money dries up, if we lose our highest paying client, if we no longer have that channel of income, then that's all it is. It's a channel. If that channel dries up, but we are still connected to our source, to limitless supply, what that literally means is that God, our Heavenly Father, has an easier, faster, more pleasurable way for us to make money and to bless
Come
other
on.
people's lives.
Yes.
And he needs us to skill up in different ways. It's time for us to grow some more. That's all it
I
means.
love it. I love it. You have 4 kiddos.
Mhm.
How old are your kids?
I have 3 boys and a girl, 26, 24, 21, and 17.
You and I are so similar. I did not know that. I'm 24, 20, and 16.
Oh,
Now
yes.
I did have to switch husbands to get my girl. You have the same husband, right?
Yes, same husband for all 4
of them.
children. Yep.
So we have a massive heart for serving our next generation here. How are you? Give us some ideas about how we can be pouring this in to our kids. I think your example of a driving force for me is when I think about that little cubicle room that my 19th boss brought me in and put me on a plan, and that was the straw that broke the camel's back for me. I think back on that, and I it's such a driver for me to ensure my kids never, if everything in my power for them not to have to go through that same trial, tribulation. Never would I take from them the lessons they learned. I'm sure that they will all have jobs. They do already. They'll work for other people at some point, but having them just know in their inner being that they are God's unique masterpiece. They're meant to create their own economy in business with God. How have you passed on entrepreneurial principles to your kids, good stewardship around money with your kids, having gone through what you did? Maybe share some tips about that with us.
Well, children are all about, I would rather see a sermon than hear one any day.
Yeah,
And really like as
love that. I love that.
right? I mean, all kind of are, right?
Yeah.
But children in particular, because I don't know about your kids, but mine just know so much and they're so much smarter than I am. And they have
Yep.
so much more life experience than I do that for me to be like, oh, you might tweak it this way. They're just like, don't force things on me. You're trying to, I mean, kids just go crazy. And so what I have found is the best way to teach them is to model it to them.
Yeah.
To just model. In fact, the kids were all with us. So the bankruptcy was like 5 years ago. And so
Mhm.
my oldest at the time was 21, my youngest was the 12 so we went through that as a family and we were very open with the kids. But I was very conscious not to say, we can't afford that. We don't have any money. I was very conscious to tell them, wow, we're going to be taken care of. Look at how much God loves us. God is so generous. And I am so grateful that we have each other. And I'm so grateful that we have our home. And thankfully, the home was never in danger. We were never in danger of losing our home.
Mhm.
But just constantly talking about gratitude and constantly like letting them know this is what's going on. We're going through a rough patch, but we're not alone. We're not alone, and God is with us, and He will catch us, and He's actually carrying us through this whole thing. And look at all of the things that we have to be grateful for. And
Mhm.
so just being transparent with the kids and also letting them know, like showing them adversity, showing them that like, "Whew, this is kind of intense. And
Yeah.
I was very deliberate and intentional with the words that I used around my children and how I had to speak to myself as well. We all have a flair for the dramatic. I know you all do. I'm not the only one who is addicted to drama. But I used to say things like, if things don't turn around in 90 days, we'll be financially destroyed. Well, those are pretty powerful words. Words have an enormous amount of power to them. And instead of allowing myself to really go into the drama of all of that, I just acknowledged it by saying, this is intense. This is intense, but we are going to have a totally boss story at the end of this. So this is going to be so inspiring to people. And this is, oh man, and we're just going to see God show up in our lives, and we're going to see how the Lord pulls us through this. And so it was really just being transparent with them without going into any sort of terror and just modeling.
I love that. And you already used something that we teach in our community around the language is so important that we say to ourselves, the people in our lives. It's never we can't afford that, but it's the question, how can we afford that?
Mhm.
How can we find this? If that's what we really want to do, how can we make the money? How can we find the money to do that as a family?
Yeah.
I'm curious how your family um, demonstrates generosity. I love hearing about ways people, do things together in generosity as families. June taught a great lesson on Monday about money, money smart kids, and it's a big, you know, push that we do what we do so we can, as you said, get more money in the hands of good people that can do good things.
Mhm. Mhm. Well, I am a very, very big believer in tithing. I always have been a big believer in tithing and taught my children the importance of the tithe. However, I mean, I love what was it Pedro who was talking about
Yep,
the generosity of that. For a
yep.
very long time, I was actually quite resentful of paying tithing. I did it because I was obedient, but I was like, we don't have any money, and so I wasn't in the right spirit of the tithe. And when I changed it to look how generous we can, like it's my gratitude. It's like my gratitude check now that when I pay my tithe, it's wow, Lord, you have blessed us so much. And all you're asking for is a tenth, not because you need it, but because you know how powerful that is when I let go of that in the spirit of generosity and in the spirit of look at how blessed we are. That becomes so powerful to bless other people's lives and my life as well. And so as far as like what we do as a family with generosity, I will have full transparency. Two of my boys aren't interested in having a relationship with God right now. And so they don't pay tithing, and they just kind of flounder in their own way, and we just love them so much. And we love He saves, and so we just love them to bits and love them to pieces. And so we look at different ways that we can be generous with our time, generous
Yeah.
with our offerings, humanitarian aid. I mean, there's just so much hurting going on right now, and being generous with our kindness and reaching out to others is
Yeah.
what we do as a family for
Well,
generosity.
and I know like you said, your kids are not your kids are watching you, and you are such a faithful follower. I know that our kids, I too, my middle son, he's working through it, his faith journey right now.
Right.
He's got me, and then he's got his dad, who is, bless his heart, a recovering Catholic. Poor man. I'm sorry if there's any Catholics on this call, that there's a lot of guilt when it comes to
Yes.
being raised Catholic, unfortunately. And so
Yes.
I know what you mean. And yet we are just doing the best we can. We love and Jesus saves. I love that you just said that.
Amen.
Oh, we need more time together, my dear. But we only got 5 minutes, and we have a couple things we need to wrap up the workshop. But any last minute, any last tips, or anything coming up for you that you want to share with our community? I will tell you, I want to come to one of your events. We get to collaborate more together. If I
Yes.
can serve your community, please, let's discuss how we can do that. I already told you about the Million Women in DC, didn't I?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so maybe we can meet there. We got to do something. It's going
So
to be fun.
beautiful. So beautiful.
But what's coming up for you? And I know you have a gift that you wanted to share with our tribe as well.
I do. I do. The thing that's coming up for me the most is that the only thing that the enemy cannot imitate from God is peace.
Mm,
That's the only thing
mm,
that the enemy cannot imitate. And money does not bring peace, but peace
mhm,
brings money. So the
mm.
more that you can be in peace, regardless of how much money you've saved or how much money is in your account, the faster money will come because you're in a place to be able to receive more. And so
Mhm.
just make peace. If that's something that is elusive to you right now, make that your own agenda for the day. Is in what ways can I feel peace? Can I feel peace when I read scripture? Can I feel peace when I listen to uplifting music like you played at the beginning of this call? In what ways can I bring peace? And once you get into peace, then you can express gratitude. Gratitude brings money in really, really quickly. It brings so many good things into your life, not just money, but gratitude is an indication that what you have is enough. And it is it's very easy to pull in more of what you already have enough of. And
Yeah,
so
yeah.
peace and gratitude will change your entire life because it changes you. Change
Mhm.
you first, and then your money and your circumstances have to change. That is universal law. Just change you.
Love it. I love it. Thank you, my friend.
Thank you.
Tell us about, I know you have a complimentary gift you wanted to share with our community as well.
Yes. Speaking of peace, I created a prosperity guide, and it's 52 different ways that you can get out of doubt and fear and overwhelm and really get into peace and certainty. And it's at prosperityapproach.com/52 ways. And these are all different things that I did to help pull myself out of that scary place that I was in so many years ago. And they worked for me. And since I'm no more special than anybody else, I know that they'll work for you too.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Make sure, Allyson, could you find that link and post it in the chat? And it
Yes.
is in your, friends, it is in your portal as well. If you're officially logged into your Wealth Creator Challenge portal, the link should be there too. Thank you, my friend. I can't wait to see you soon. Are you coming to Secret Knock for Women or
Yes, I am.
Beach Day? But are you doing the Beach Day next week by chance? Right,
I'm
Grace?
not doing a beach. No, I'm
Okay.
not doing the beach day next
Okay,
week.
but
No,
I'll
but I
see you
am
in
doing a
June.
feminine factor the day before. So we should talk about that. I would love to have you be part of
Okay.
that.
Let's talk about it. Sounds good.
Yes.
Everyone, jazz hands for my beautiful Allyson. Thank you so much, my
Thank you.
dear. So appreciate you.
Thank you.
So friends, as we are wrapping up today, I have tomorrow, we're actually going to be talking about 2 really powerful solutions on the Better platform. We're going to be talking about the health insurance for entrepreneurs, unbelievable opportunity to save money and therefore put more money back in your own pocket to do good things with Clearwater Marketing. My family alone, we saved $700 a month when we just simply switched providers with Clearwater. So stay tuned for that. We're also going to learn tomorrow about the self-employment tax credit and the employee retention tax credit. There's still a window of time that you can take advantage of that. Be watching for a call from our success coach team. Make sure you take us up on that complimentary session with one of our Kingdom Wealth specialists. And June, are you doing our drawing today? Okay, super. I'm going to pass the baton to you, my dear. I'll get you pinned here.
Okay,
Who's our
let's spin.
lucky winner?
I put the salmon color for you and Allyson.
There we go. I love it.
And it's
Mary
Alice.
Alice, you are the winner, sister. So friends, I wanted to actually give you, I just remembered, I wanted to give you an update, and please pray for our buddy Barbara, my sweet 85-year-old friend who I was in a transformational coaching program with her, and she was my buddy. Many of you know her. She slammed her leg in her car, had to get 16 stitches. This poor sweet woman. I just love her so much. She is just such an example of lifelong learning, and she just keeps getting some curveballs thrown at her. So please pray for Miss Barb. And I'm excited to see you all tomorrow. Blessings, everyone, in this amazing life journey, and we will see you tomorrow. Bye, everybody.